Hello, welcome to Mountain Craft Studio. My name's Christine. Come on in and I'll show you what I've been working on. So thanks for stopping by. I have so much to show you today. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Last month, when I left you, I told you that I was going to be working on the Sampler's Not Forgotten floral heart, and I did get it finished and put together. I just love this. I've loved it for ages. I don't know why I didn't go ahead and stitch it right when I first got it, but I didn't. It is so cute. I finished it exactly as the instructions said. This was a kit, and I stuffed it with some of my sheep's wool. I used to have a small flock of Shetland sheep. In fact, if you look, that blue bags right back there, those are all, that's wool from my sheep. So I could probably stuff about 20,000 of these maybe. A lot. Most of that is I've reserved. It's going to go into some weaving if my lower back ever gets to the point where it lets me get back on the loom. It's feeling better. Hopefully it'll be soon. But anyway, this was, in case you haven't ever seen it, just in case. There it is. It's finished. Super cute. Love that. And then I also did, I kept up with my Stitch a Day sampler, which is, this is the Morning Glory Needleworks Stitch a Day. There's 365 different stitches in this, and I've kept up, and hopefully you saw I put before I started talking, hopefully you saw a nice little video of this and some pictures of what it looks like up close. This is where I am so far. I've noticed that I'm not always, I wanted it to be one where I sat down, literally sat down every day and did one stitch, but I've noticed that sometimes I get off. 2 or 3 days might go by and I'll have to do catch up, but I figure that's okay too. I love it. I can't tell you how much I love it. Anyway, if you haven't checked this out, do so. And also I wanted to say to Dawn, the designer of the pattern, how sorry I am for your loss. It's, as I mentioned before, it's just beyond words. I'm so sorry. She lost her husband just recently. The next project that I've been working on, I told you in the last episode that I was going to throw all my plans out the window, and the minute I received the Gloriana silks that I was going to need, I was going to start on Anne Robinson. Isn't that gorgeous? I didn't get my silks, sadly, from my order, but Lisa Kirk, I believe it's Ellie's Naps on Instagram, she reached out and she said, hey, I have found one of the colors that you're looking for, because I was looking for pecan and brick. And pecan is one of the major colors, so I couldn't even really start unless I had it. And I really did want the actual, I didn't want to make any substitutions in my colors if I could help it. And so I was so excited when she sent that to me. I can't even tell you how excited I was, because I've been able to get it started. There are a few gaps in there, and that's the brick that I'm missing. So like right here, luckily brick so far isn't taking up a lot of real estate, so I've been able to go ahead and get started. But look at that. How cool is it? So pretty. This is Cedar River linen. They're arboreal colorway. It's 40 count. I don't know what I was thinking. I probably should have went 36 on a dark color, but I'm managing. I'm getting it done. I do have to have good lighting though in order to stitch this one. I love it. It is going to be so cool. I mean, I can't wait to, I started at the top corner because to save the best for last. If you look at that, look at these people, right? And the deer. The people are so funny looking. I love it. I can't wait. It's been a little bit of a challenge. Number one, it's silk, and you do have to be careful with the Gloriana, especially if you get too aggressive, it'll just pull apart. You definitely have to go with 2 strands over 2 because otherwise it'll just come undone. And the dark color also makes it challenging. But then I also have Agnes. So Agnes is obsessed with paper. Anyway, this means I'm going to have to start all of my charts that are on paper. I'm going to have to start taking scans or pictures of them, putting it in my iPad and using them that way, which is, you know, that's good. At least then you can enlarge it and that sort of stuff, which is incredibly helpful. But I kind of liked having paper too. I don't really want to load up my cell phone with patterns. And I don't always want to take my iPad everywhere I go, but it is what it is. So if it makes life with Agnes a little better, so be it. Bless her heart. Her legs, her fur's finally starting to grow back in because there for a while she looked ridiculous when she was in the hospital. She had both of her forearms, I don't know what that's called on a cat, forearms, anyway, shaved, and it looked like she had white spots there. And then the rest of her was black, right? And it looked like she had on these big black Ugg boots. Hilarious. But it's starting to blend. It's still not long, but it's at least blending in color now. And she is terrorizing the rest of them. And now they're all at least in the same room and without attacking each other. But they do have little spats here and then. So, and she and the dog are great friends now. They love to play tag and in the house at 100 miles an hour. It's lovely. So anyway, that's probably what she's doing right now because I left her unsupervised. Probably should have put her back in her room. Anyway, so those are the 2 whips that I've been working on this month in March. Thoroughly enjoying those. I'll be stitching something else soon because I'm actually going to go to the Fancy Works retreat next week. Stacy Nash is going to be there. I'm very much looking forward to that. So if you're going to, make sure that you stop and say hey and introduce yourself so that I can see who's on the other side of the video screen. That'd be awesome. And I can't wait. I think it's going to be so fun to meet a lot of people in the area or who've flown in for the retreat. The other thing I was going to show, everyone's really getting into these kits that, these little sewing kits, right? This is not the one that you saw on the Hands Across the Sea videos. This is actually from Amazon. If I remember and if I have time, I'll give you a link below. But it's just this cute little zippered case. It's just enough for a pair of scissors. I have a little tiny seam ripper. This little one is for, you know, my needlework. And then I have a small leather thimble. These are great because they can fold to flat, right? And then they can fold back up. And that all fits in the top of the lid. This has a laying tool and one of those little snag nabbit tools, which I need here in a few minutes. You'll see why. And then the bottom just has a waxer. I put a little bit, this is where the rings had gone, and I took that out and just put a red fabric on the bottom. And then the rest of it I'm just using for needles. I have a little needle book. Isn't that cute? My grandmother made this for me when I was a little girl. And it fits in there perfectly. So this is just my handy toolkit for cross stitch. And I can take that to the retreat, just throw it in along with my retreat bags, and I'm good to go. I've always loved a good kit, so I have a few more. I decided that's my theme for today. I'm going to show you some good kits. This one is one I just made. This was, I stitched this in 1992, long time ago, and I had never finished it into anything. I had it in a frame a couple of times, but they weren't the right frames. They were just the cheapo frames because I couldn't afford anything better in 92. That's when I'm pretty sure I stitched this while I was pregnant with my son. Anyway, I bought some fabric that coordinated perfectly with the colors in the stitch, right? And so I'm setting this one up as a toolkit for my crewel embroidery. Right now I just have some scissors, some of the needles, some of my wool yarns. This one is actually some that I've spun myself just because I wanted to see if I could do it. So I plan on keeping this one. This will not be a traveling one, obviously. This is just going to stay at home, but it has everything I need for crewel embroidery in it, and I'll know where to go and look for that. This is another one. This is one of the housewife, however you pronounce it. I've seen it pronounced all different ways. I received this as a gift from a friend of mine way back when, and this is my quilting little go-to. I have another one of the waxers that a friend of mine made. Needles, thimbles, etc. Pair of scissors. Some of the little things that go on the underhand finger to keep you from getting stabbed. But I just love this. I have some more that I made down at the cabin that I'll show sometime. But this is, if I'm going to sit down or go somewhere to quilt, this is what I take with me. Just throw it in my bag. The next one is, this is, I have had this forever. And so I want to say this, I bought it at like Joann's or one of those places. I might have bought it at a quilt shop, but I'm pretty sure it was just Joann's. And I have used this thing like you wouldn't believe. So this is my basic sewing kit for anything. I love the way it's laid out. It has a place for needles and pins. These are little wool things that can come up, right? It's got one of those fancy needle threaders. A pocket in plastic with some where you can keep your thread. There's another one. This one's for thread, and it even has a little hole that you can pull the spool, the thread out of, and it will stay on the spool. There's some things to hold scissors and seam ripper. There's another one for a needle package. And the outside has been great. You can't even tell that it's been worn. And I mean, I've had this for 15, 20 years and use it all the time. The inside is starting to fall apart right here. They always put that inexpensive liner stuff in these, and it just shreds eventually. But what I'm thinking is that I would kind of like to sit down and make another one of these. I think I could figure it out if I use this kind of as a pattern for size. But this has been a great option. That's something that you can consider too if you're wanting to go to a retreat or something like that. Just toss everything in here. Something like that. I think those are great. This was another one that I bought fairly recently. It's been a little while. I want to say I got it on Amazon. Pretty sure I did. might have been eBay, but I'm pretty sure it was Amazon. But it is essentially the same thing as the first one, but bigger. I've repurposed this one to use for my wool applique. And so it's got all my little doodads in here, right? There's some needles, the glue for basting. There's a thimble, all that good stuff, and some pearl cotton. I think that's about it. But I love this because then again I can throw it in with my stuff and I'm ready to go. I don't have to sort through a bunch of stuff and figure out what I'm going to take with me. And then I have a couple more that you're going to like. This is, I do applique. And so this was what I used to, this was the only thing I had for applique for a long time. I bought one of these. I know you can get these on Amazon. It's one of these bobbin holders, and you can actually get it with all these pre-wound bobbins, and they're all different colors. And so if you're sitting down to do your applique, when you do applique, you want to match your color of thread to whatever your applique is, not the background, but the applique. And so this gave me a lot of different thread colors that I needed at the time. Since then, I've become a long arm quilter and I have thread out the wazoo. Not that I would necessarily use that thread for applique, but anyway. But this worked out perfectly to have all the things that I need. There's some glue for basting, a pair of scissors, a thimble, and all that good stuff. This was a good one when I was doing paper piecing as well. But since then, I've acquired a little more thread, which you'll see. So this one I know you can still get. It is a packet that holds all of your threads. Now, wouldn't this would be lovely for the Verissois 103s, right? There's nothing up at the top, but each one of these has this red strip across, and if you can, let's see if I can get this up close enough so that you can see it. The threads actually come out of that. It's like I don't know what the word is. It's a thick material that allows you to pull that thread through your with a needle and leave it hanging out. And then it kind of works like that other one did. You just pull on the thread. You don't have to get any of them out of the package. You just take what you need, snip it off, and on you go. You can have room down here, right, to put other little doodads in. If you're doing applique or doing paper piecing, you might have your paper pieces here. I love this. And you can get it on Karen K. Buckley's website. When you order it, you don't know what it's going to look like when you get it. It's just whatever they have available. So I decided I was going to make another one for whatever, years ago. Or actually, I think I had the pattern first. I had the pattern first. And I was going to make it. This you can get from, it's a By Annie pattern. So go to byannie.com and you can get the pattern and make your own. But I remember I ran across the other one at Karen K. Buckley's, and I was already finished for an incredibly reasonable price, so I ended up buying it. But it has two different sizes in this pattern. You can make the big one like what I just showed you, or you can make a smaller one that would fit about 10 of the 103s in it and fold over. That would be easy to stick inside of a project bag. Anyway, I plan on making some of these for my stash whenever I have the free time. But those are a few of my kits that I thought I would share. I have more, and I'll show those whenever I have them rounded up. But I love a good kit. And since everyone was showing them on Facebook and Instagram, I decided to show you what I use. The other thing, I've been doing so much, a little bit here and a little bit there. It seems like I almost don't really have a lot to show for it, but it's just because I have been so many on all the different things. I did finish a quilt. I quilted it. This one I had finished the top quite a while ago. This has been probably 12 or more years in process. I remember these were just leftover half square triangles from a project I made a very long time ago, at least 12 years ago, probably more. And then I just stuck those together with some 5-inch squares that I dug out of my stash. And then I put those all together. I hadn't really decided what I was going to do with it, so it just kind of has been hanging waiting for me to long arm it, and I finally did. I'll show you up close, hopefully, that you can see. I chose to do a triple line zigzag or a chevron pattern. I like it. It gives it that old quilt look. I've seen a lot of quilts with the 3 lines. Not all of them, or I didn't see any that were chevrons, but they were close. But I really like how this one turned out. You might be able to see it a little bit better on the back. I like it. Just a little crib size that to have around for display. It's most likely going to end up down at the cabin. Then, speaking of the cabin, I actually worked quite a bit down there. If you are a follower of me on Instagram, you saw a bunch of pictures. I was trying to get the studio down there painted and whatnot. Had an invasion of those stupid orange bugs. But anyway, so that room didn't get finished painted, but I did get a lot of other things done. And what I've started to do, I am going to make curtains for that studio. They're going to be the same as, I don't know if you watch her, but there's a YouTuber called, it's called The Last Homely House, and her name's Kate, and she made the best curtains to go, and they're always behind her in the videos, and I think I can't remember if they were 1-inch square or 1.5 inch. They're tiny little squares that she had literally gone through her stash and cut up, and and made those, and I just love them. I was like, yes, I love those. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make similar, but with larger squares, and doing it with a little bit more strip piecing so that I can get it done in my lifetime. I have made a quilt. You can actually see it. There's part of it. It's underneath the spool cabinets over there to level things out until I get something else made for that spot. But this is what it looks like. It's the Miss Rosie's Quilt Company. 7 letters. I love that quilt. It was fun to make. A friend of mine made the exact same one. She came over and then with another friend, we sat around one weekend and put them all together. It was a lot of fun. But what I'm doing is I'm doing it all these colors. I'm not going to have the blue stripes or the white. I'm just going to throw it all together, and it's going to be super fun. And I went through my stash first of all and found as many 30s print strips as I could find to get started, and I was surprised there weren't more. Sorry about that. Oops. I was surprised there weren't more, but I got quite a few. I've made a lot of baby quilts over the years, and I have managed to work through a lot of my scraps. Then I have a Dear Jane, an older one, Aunt Grace's, or maybe it's the Dear Jane patterns. I can't remember the Fresh Air is the collection name. So I had that I'm starting to cut up. Then I also have this one from Lori Holt, and I was going to look up the name for this one and I forgot. It's not calico because I also have calico. They look very much the same. This was out about a year ago. Anyway, so I'm going to use this one the fresh air, and then I have a bunch of miscellaneous 5-inch squares that are also going to go in it. And this, the beauty of the pattern that I just showed you, the 7 letters, right, is that you actually, you make up all of your squares with a bunch of squares, right? All of your quilt blocks, I should say. And in order to sew them together and not have 2 fabrics line up next to each other, you actually take and make a strip, a binding strip here, a binding strip here, right? And none of these fabrics are in your regular block, which is brilliant, right? And so my plan is that these smaller pieces, since they won't be strip piece, this will be what is included in between each block to make sure that it's as scrappy as possible. So that will be a very long project because there's 7 windows. So and they're big. It's not like 7 tiny windows in the bathroom. It's 7 big windows to do. So that's going to take a while. But it sounds like a lot of work, but the strip piecing makes it a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it before, and I love this fun colors and stuff like that I plan to use down there. So it's just going to be perfect. And while I was down there working away and planning, okay, I'm going to use all these, 30s prints and that sort of thing. Someone contacted me on Instagram. Her name's Linda. I'm not going to mention anything else because I didn't actually get permission from her. But she contacted me and she says, I have some quilt blocks. I don't know what to do with them. And I'm going to send them to you if you want them. And I said, sure, go ahead. And she said that they were in 30s prints. I said, oh, they'll be perfect because, I'm planning on doing the whole studio in 30s prints. Well, I got them and I was just flabbergasted. She said they were old and that it was an attempt at a quilt that somebody, never finished. So she sent me, this is the example block that the person was using. As an example, there are 39 finished dressed plates. I can't believe that they're not stitched on to the fabric yet. That was just the example, but they're 39 original feed sacks. These aren't reproductions. How cool are these? I love them. They're so neat. I have been having a blast looking at Pinterest, trying to figure out how I want to do the layouts. This will make a nice big quilt. There's even extra quilt pieces that haven't been put together. I mapped it out. I think there's 39 blocks here. I think she was going for 42 because that would lay out to be the right number for a pretty good size quilt. It even has the pattern that she'd cut out for the center to go right there. And it just so happens I already have the perfect yellow fabric to go in the middle. I also have some of this fabric, which is going to be the sashing, I've decided, right? And the white background for these to go on. So I don't even need to go buy anything. And if for some reason I absolutely need more fabrics, I have a collection of 30s feed sack fabrics. So I'm so excited about this project. This will be lovely. And it's only going to need to be appliqued down on the outside. It's going to go really quickly. It's much more quick than like little tiny pieces that you have to go around, little leaves or anything like that when you're doing applique. And it's a lot easier because it's just, smooth ridges. So I cannot wait to work on this. I'm so excited. that absolutely blew me away. I could not believe she was so generous to send that to me. But she was a watcher of my What to Do with Grandma's Quilts video, and she said that she knew I would know what to do with them. And so I think that's part of what I'll do is after I have the next few episodes of that planned, after that I'll start showing what to do with blocks. If you find some of Grandma's blocks, what are some ideas you could do with the different things. And this will definitely be featured. So excited. And then the only other thing, I did do some knitting, especially while I was down south, because I got to the point, sometimes you get to the point where you just need to sit and you want something to do with your hands, but you can't really do anything with your brain. And that's basically when I knit. So I don't knit a lot of fancy things usually. But I did get a ways onto my scarf. I can't even remember what the name of this is. It's on my iPad. You can reference last video, or if I think about it, I'll put it down below. This is some of my own yarn that I have spun. It was a collection of different colors. It's going to have two more. There's a blue and a purple. It'll be a rainbow once it's finished, and you can see that there's little dots that go through. The name of it's right on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. Anyway, you can look up any of my knitting projects if you're a knitter on Ravelry. I am Christine Byrne on Ravelry, all one word. It's Christine with a C, and Byrne is B-Y-R-N-E. And you can find all the crazy things I've made over there, because I do keep track of all my projects that I can. Lost all yarn going under. I'll get it later. And then I wanted to show you, because I was on my way out, then I noticed Agnes had been playing with some toys, and I made these toys a couple of years ago. I can't remember their names either, but again, they are on Ravelry. Aren't they sweet? It's Peter Rabbit. He's so cute. And his friend. Can't remember which one. I can't remember what I named her. But Agnes tried to rip her arm off. So I have to do some surgery. These were not Agnes's toys. These are for my grandkids. So I had to take them away. I thought, you know, it's spring. I'm going to put my little spring decorations out. Bad idea. She's got a little fluff ball tail. Aren't they cute? I love these when I saw the pattern come out. They're adorable. So I wanted them to stay at Nana's house so I could see them all the time. Is that selfish? I don't know. But look how cute. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to share for today. I'm going to start cleaning up. I'm going to start thinking about packing for my retreat. I'm getting excited for that. And I will see you sometime in April. Thanks for stopping by.